I want to talk to you today about something that is all over the financial news right now. And I want to give you the version that actually matters for people in or close to retirement. Oil prices. Brent crude started this year at around $60 a barrel, and it's now trading around 110. That's a 75% spike in less than 4 months. And if you know your financial history, that number should get your attention immediately. Here's why. Going back to 1970, there is a pattern that is held without a single exception. Every oil price above 10 has been followed by a recession. Every single time. Now, does higher oil cause recessions directly? Not always cleanly, but the mechanism is simple and brutal. When consumers spend more at the pump, they spend less everywhere else. Spending contracts, business revenue drops, layoffs follow, the economy follows. We are already past the percent threshold by 25 points, and we got there in under 4 months. History is not whispering a warning right now, it's shouting one. Now, I want to be fair here, because there is a legitimate case that 2026 is not 1973. And if your advisor or the financial media is making that case, they're not entirely wrong. The U.S. economy absorbs oil shocks far better today than it did 50 years ago. Energy costs now make up just 1.9% of what Americans spend each month. During the 1980 oil shock, that number was above 6%. The U.S. is now also producing a record 14 million barrels of oil per day, more than 35% above the peak that we hit in the 70s. So the same spike that crippled consumers in 1973 hits with significantly less direct force today. And if you're an energy investor, this shock may actually be working in your favor right now. That is the honest, balanced picture. But here's where I part ways with the don't worry crowd. The question isn't how hard the oil shock hits, it's what condition the consumer was in before it arrived, and the data here is alarming. Total U.S. household debt hit a record $18.8 trillion in the fourth quarter of 2025. 1 in 8 credit card holders is now seriously delinquent, more than 90 days behind. 25% of student loan borrowers are also in delinquency, nearly triple the pre-pandemic rate. 111 million Americans could not pay their monthly credit card bill in the full at the end of last year. That is a new record. A 75% oil shock hitting a strong consumer is painful. A 75% oil shock hitting a consumer already carrying record debt with nothing left to absorb it, that is a fundamentally different problem. Now let me bring this home for you specifically. If you are in retirement or within 10 to 15 years of it, the combination of these factors creates a real risk profile that I want you to fully understand. Your income plan likely depends, at least in part, on continued market returns. But market returns depend on consumer spending, and consumer spending is being squeezed from every direction. On top of that, the institution that has historically been coming to the rescue, the Federal Reserve, is essentially paralyzed. GDP growth in the fourth quarter was revised down to 0.7%. Inflation is already above the Fed's target. They can't cut without accelerating inflation, and they can't hike without triggering a recession they're also trying to prevent. So they wait and hope. For retirees who have spent the last decade with the Fed as a quiet safety net, that net has a big hole in it right now. Here's my honest message to you today. I'm not predicting a recession, and nobody can do that with certainty. What I am saying is this: a responsible retirement income plan should be able to survive the scenario that the data is currently pointing toward. Slowing growth, persistent inflation, a stressed consumer, a paralyzed Fed, and an oil market that may not correct as quickly as people hope. If your plan has never been stress tested against that scenario, today is the day to ask for that conversation. I'm Robert Beck. I build retirement income plans for people who want clarity, not just comfort. If you want that conversation, the link is below. And if this video gave you something to think about, subscribe, because this is the kind of analysis I bring every single week.